Welcome to the Funny Books and Firewater podcast. Each week these idiots pair cocktails with comic books. You can find the cocktails, drinking game rules, and playlists on the blog at funnybooksandfirewater.com. While at funnybooksandfirewater.com, you can also find a drinking game rule to play while you listen to each episode. You can follow us at Firewatercast on Twitter, and Funny Books and Firewater on Facebook and Instagram. This is episode 160, Through the Woods, part of our Written by Women month.
Did you know the most pornographic farm animals are the brown chicken and the brown cow?
I don't know why.
Why is that?
Brown chicken, brown cow.
Okay. I was waiting for Adam to give the punchline of the joke.
Oh, I was like brown chicken, brown. No, I don't remember how it goes now. But yeah, I know that joke.
Get that reference.
This podcast is brought to you by Basil Hayden's Kentucky Straight Bourbon Whiskey.
Is it? Is that what you're drinking today?
We are today.
Ah, okay.
Thanks, Daddy.
You're welcome, son.
So, anyway, that awkward statement aside. Welcome to episode 160 of the Funny Books and Firewater podcast. This week we are beginning our month of women writers and artists, as the case may be. Today we're doing Through the Woods by Emily Carroll, who wrote and illustrated this book. It is a collection of short stories with a very Edgar Allan Poe kind of vibe.
Yes,
Does that seem fair to everybody?
Yeah.
Cool. So we have me alone in Utah. Hi, I'm Brian. I'm a sound designer based in Southern California. I'm doing this out of order just for fun.
You alone in Utah?
You
Thank you.
So here's the deal. I'm double dutying it. I'm doing a gig for Netflix during the day, and I'm doing my normal job at night, and I'm really fucking tired.
Are you allowed to say?
So,
I was going to say.
yeah. Am I allowed to say that I'm working for Netflix? I think so.
All right.
I'm working for a subcontractor doing a project for Netflix.
Yeah,
How does that
you're
sound?
not
That sound
technically an
fair?
employee, so.
I'm not technically an employee of Netflix. I am working on their. I'm working for a subcontractor.
How many times can we
There
say
you go.
Netflix in
So
this
I'm
bit?
doing odd.
How many times can we say
What?
Netflix in this?
We get it.
Netflix. Oh, we get it. So, two former employees of Netflix, actually. Let's see. Who should we start with? Former employee number one, Mr.
That's me.
Maya.
I'm Maya. You can catch me on Twitter at Mr. Maya. Man, it is not just Brian that's tired.
See, I'm not the only
Instagram
one.
At the Mr. Maya. You can also follow my cat on both of those at It's the Jonesy. And I'm doing stuff with UCW Zero, which is a local wrestling promotion here in Utah. Check it out.
Sweet.
Cool. Only wrestling at home in bed, we have Mr. Adam.
God. Not for a bit. There's a story behind that. Hey, what's up? This is Adam from Big Shiny Robot. Also, still figuring out what we're doing with the Bored as Hell podcast with Andy Wilson.
Hi, Andy.
And of course, over at our sister podcast, Cinema Queens with Chris.
Hey,
Hi,
Chris.
Chris.
Hi, Chris. And as always, curating our Grindr, Scruff, and Tights with a Z account.
A frequent contributor to our Tights with the Z account, we have Mr. Todd.
I don't think that's true.
It's not. I'm just trying to make up segues.
You know, it really works, though. But hey, I just do the well thought out posts.
Which means there aren't any.
The artful dick pics.
That's
Yeah.
right. You know, is that the blue period from Picasso? So, hey, I'm Todd. You can find me here on this podcast. Sometimes I do another one, but we haven't done it lately, so I won't say what it is.
I know, we're really bad about that one.
So, but
I'm really mainly to blame, to be honest with you, but that's okay.
We get it. You're doing something for Netflix.
Feliciate me, funny man.
yes, indeed. Well, there we go. It's, you know, I'm here with the former Netflix employee, the homebed wrestler.
Homebed wrestler? Yeah, sure.
Homebed wrestler. And then, and then the guy.
That sounds like Homestar Runner, Homebed Wrestler.
Homebed wrestler. Homestar runner. God. Trapdoor. Love that shit.
That was great shit.
Yeah. All right. Let's keep rolling, man.
Okay, well, Mr. Todd, we've sort of already introduced the book. What is the myification for this book?
I feel funny.
I feel funny.
Oh, so funny.
And funny. And huh.
Okay, well, with Todd's funny feeling, I guess we're going to need a drinking game. I will go with mine. I'm calling mine Dead Like Me. Every time there's a dead body or body part, take a drink. That is more evil than you would expect. Mr. Adam, what is your drinking game rule?
So mine's called You've Got Red on You. This is a once per page thing. Every time a person's white face has a splash of red on it.
Okay. Mr. Adam, Maya. Wow. Holy shit.
Mine's called Me, and it's basically anytime someone speaks in the first person, like saying I, me, we, I've, I'm, we've. Take a drink.
Okay. And Mr. Todd.
Back in reference again, this is called the Picasso Blue Period. When looking at the art and colors and realizing each short story has its own color scheme with the theme.
Okay. You've heard of the blue waffle.
Awesome. So we have a drinking game. We need to vote as to whether or not... Actually, I wonder if we should rearrange that. I wonder if we should do votes first. I might do that next episode. I'm going to try that. Anyway, so we're going to vote as to whether or not we believe it is worth you, our dear listeners, hard-earned time, money, and effort to read this book.
After this?
We do the song after this. That's the thing, is we do the song and the cocktails after this, so it almost makes more sense to do the votes first. You see what I'm saying? So, votes as to whether or not it's worth you, our dear listeners, hard-earned time, money, and effort to read this book. We will start with Mr. Maya.
Sure.
Okay, Mr. Adam?
Definitely.
Mr. Todd?
Yes.
And I'm also, yes, I really like this book. Now, Mr. Todd, we get into playlists of songs for you to listen to, since we all agree that you should probably read this book. It's pretty good. For our playlist, Mr. Todd, what is your song?
Mine's the whole album of Miles Davis's Kind of Blue. I've got a theme going on here.
You got a theme going on here with blue?
With blue. Well, I'll talk about the blue in the book, and the art is really striking, and it's awesome, too. So.
Okay.
Because that's what Todd can see.
Okay, because I'm like, I don't remember there being a lot of blue. I remember there being a lot of red, but I don't remember there being a lot of blue.
Blue's in there, too.
Is there blue?
Todd doesn't see red so well, but I see blue good.
Okay.
That hurts my ears.
Are you colorblind?
Like maybe a little. I mean, when I say maybe a little, I mean really a lot. Brian's got stories.
My buddy posted on Twitter the other day, he's like, this is grammatically correct. It's what it's.
It's what it's.
Instead of it is what it is?
It's what it's.
My response was, I don't like that.
I feel icky.
Where the hell were we?
We were doing songs.
So I did Todd's songs. You haven't done anyone else's songs yet.
Okay. Mr. Adam, what is your song?
I'm doing Beautiful People by Marilyn Manson.
Okay. I'm doing Red Right Hand by Nick Cave and the Bad Seeds.
Yeah, don't forget the Bad Seeds.
Okay. And Mr. Maya?
Mine is Little Red Riding Hood by Sam the Sham and the Pharaohs.
Nice.
Do we want to say what our
absentee member?
Oh, did he send one? I'm sorry.
He might have.
Yes, I got it right here. And then his song is Bones by Ms. Mister.
That's a great song. It was used as part of the previews of season 4 of Game of Thrones.
I'll take your word for it.
But no, it's got a good moody theme going on. Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, we have the votes to say yes, you should read this. We have the drinking games. We have the playlist. Now, of course, we need your cocktails for you to drink while you read this book. Wow.
Have fun editing this, Brian.
Hey, we showed up. It still counts.
Oh my god. I know. Holy shit. I don't know if I have a double in me today, to be honest.
No, worst case
that's what he said.
Do it some other time, so.
Yeah, that's true. Cool. Well, so let's jump into cocktails. Mr. Todd. No, let you go first last time. Mr. Maya, what is your cocktail for this week?
Mine is called Into the Woods. It's 1 ounce of rye, 3/4 ounces of ginger liqueur, a 1/2 ounce of orange liqueur, preferably Aperol, 1 dash of walnut bitters, and for a garnish, an orange twist. Stir all the liquid ingredients with ice until well chilled. Strain it into a cocktail glass, and then garnish with an orange twist.
Okay. That sounds delicious.
Mine has an orange twist, too.
So mine is called The Raven. I took sort of an Edgar Allan Poe kind of vibe for this. So it's 6 fresh blackberries, fresh mint leaves, 1.5 ounces of white rum, and 1/2 cup of cranberry juice. In a cup or a shaker, you mash the 3 blackberries just enough to get the juice and mix them with the mint leaves. Add a shot of rum and then the ice. Pour into a wine goblet, add cranberry juice and sugar to taste. And put the 3 blackberries on a bamboo pick, and you garnish it with that and the mint sprigs. So, really simple, actually. Mr. Adam, what is your cocktail?
So mine is called Bring Out Your Dead. It's 1 ounce of gin, 1 ounce of Lillet Blanc, 1 ounce of Cointreau, 1 ounce of fresh lemon juice, 1 dash of absinthe. Add all that to an ice-filled shaker. You shake the shit out of it, and then you strain into a chilled martini glass and garnish with an orange peel.
What's the name of the drink again?
Bring Out Your Dead.
Nope, say it right.
Bring Out Your Dead.
There we go.
Although I went Southern on that for some reason.
Yeah,
You kind of did.
Yeah.
It's there. I'll take it.
I was talking to a customer the other day and slipped into Australian just for some weird reason. I don't know why.
Fantastic.
Like in the middle of a sentence.
So are any of you guys watching Barry on HBO?
No, it's on my list of stuff I need to watch.
No, I'm still catching up on a bunch of other shit.
So it's so hilarious is the idea, it's a group of people taking acting classes, and they're terrible people, so it's real life, I guess. But this guy's working at a clothing store, and he's affecting an English accent, but another employee there really does have an English accent.
Oh, Carrie plays drops of this on Radio from Hell.
Yeah, so she walks up to him and says, "You need to stop." She thinks we're both being assholes now because we're faking this accent. And he's like, "I'm not faking, this is mine." He's like, "Well, it's like a character." And he's like, "A British accent is not a character." He's like, "Meh, maybe." Yeah.
Okay.
How about your drink?
Yeah, Brian's drink had already did it.
I have Jason's drink when we're ready. So.
Yeah.
What's Jason's drink?
Jason's drink is the Rotten Appletini. It's 1 part bourbon, 2 parts unfiltered apple cider, fresh and refrigerated, 1/4 ounce of maple syrup, not pancake syrup, the real shit. Squeeze a lemon and a cinnamon stick. You combine ingredients in a shaker filled with ice. Exercise the diamonds by shaking vigorously, and then strain into a glass rimmed with raw sugar. Rimmed. Drink to enjoy.
Drink to enjoy or drink to forget?
It was about that time I started with my drinking problem.
Cool. Have I got everybody?
No.
Or
Yeah.
what's your cocktail?
Well, guess what? I've got a theme, so guess what's part of my cocktail?
Blue.
Yes. So it's the Blue Ritz Fizz, and the guy who actually created this was named Dominic LaRufa Jr. I want to be.
We're getting a history lesson.
LaRufa Senior.
Rufa, is he Asian?
Yeah. So what you're going to want to do is it has chilled champagne, a dash of blue curacao, a dash of amaretto, a dash of lemon juice, and a lemon twist if you want. So fill a champagne flute almost filled with champagne, add the blue curacao, amaretto, and lemon juice, and stir it gently, and then add the lemon twist if you want, and serve. So you've got this nice, bubbly, sparkly blue drink.
Stir it gently. That's my favorite Tenacious D song.
Yeah.
That's
Sorry.
And the 1 cock push-up, you only need to do 1, right?
Mm-hmm. We deactivate their dick.
That's all it takes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, did I have everybody's cocktails?
Cock.
Tails.
Cock. Okay. Well, then that being said, do we have any final warnings before we let people go off and read this book, even though we all recommend that you should? That's not even, though, but we all recommend that you should read this. Do we have any final warnings?
It's gothic and macabre, and if blood and other things make you squeamish, this may not be.
It almost kind of makes me think of like the scary stories to tell in the dark.
That's what both books, this book and one we're doing next week, kind of felt that way.
Yeah.
Oh, no, both books we're doing the last week and this week are sort of like collections of short
stories. No, it made me want to go read through Brothers Grimm again.
Sure.
Sorry, Adam.
Both books kind of did.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. This one in particular reminded me of like collections of Edgar Allan Poe stories and poems, for sure. More so than next week's, but yeah. Okay. Cool. Any other final warnings before we send people on their merry way?
Make sure you get plenty of sleep.
And stay with that.
My God, yeah.
My recommendation this week is
functioning
sleep.
better than I really am.
It's not overrated.
Yeah.
Sleep. It's a no black.
Yeah.
Sleep with the new block.
Sleep
All right, go read the book.
Go read the book.
Okay. Go read the book. Go read the book. We'll be back in a second.
While we take a break, here is a message from one of our fellow Hello Sweetie Network podcasts.
Hi, everybody. This is Matt.
And I'm Trevor. We're the co-hosts of the Nighthawks podcast, a movie podcast for people who like to stay up late.
We've just joined the Hello Sweetie Podcast Network, expanding our podcast empire and bringing the world to its knees.
Take a seat in the Nighthawks diner with us. We're going to talk to you about movies.
We've got new movies, old movies, movies we love, movies nobody loves.
You can find us on Stitcher, iTunes, and at nighthawkspodcast.com.
Hey, that was pretty good. Do you think they'll listen?
The good ones always do.
And then you're going to disappear for... How long are you going to be in Florida?
A week.
Wow.
It's enough time for you to do something stupid and get on the news.
So,
True.
Elena and Ian were awesome.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Elena and Ian. I don't know if Ian listens to the show, but hi, Elena.
Ian totally comes across as a guy who won't. But, good guy.
Won't listen to the show.
Yeah, he is Canadian, so...
He's not our target demographic.
Yes.
It was really fun to go. So on the Podbean analytics, you can see what countries and states download your podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of fun to go on there and see. It's because obviously with Cinema Queens, Utah's pretty big, but California's really big. Texas actually is pretty good.
There are a lot of queens in Texas.
Holy shit! Only queers and steers come from Texas.
Which one are you?
You don't look like a bull to me.
Yeah.
So, this whiskey is good, but my lungs are still slightly sensitive, so every time I breathe in a little bit of that alcohol vapors, it's like...
Or you're insensitive.
I've had this cough I've been trying to get over.
Walk it off, pussy.
I know.
Mr. Todd, would you like to do the summary for this week?
Yes, I prepared. So this is
Okay.
Through the Woods Stories by Emily Carroll is how it's the cover is stated, because it's a collection of short stories of what's going on here. So in the first story, it's called In a Neighbor's House. 3 sisters are left to fend for themselves when their father goes out hunting. He tells them if he is not back after 3 days, they are to pack their bags and walk to their neighbor's house. Except the sisters disagree and decide to wait for their papa, and one by one they disappear. The inevitability of this narrative, each of the sisters meeting a man with a wide-brimmed hat, sets the perfect ominous tone for the rest of the book. The next one is A Lady's Hands Are Cold. It's a Bluebeard type of retelling. It says, with the ghost of a murdered woman waiting for vengeance from within the walls of her home. The most effective thing about this story, severed body parts aside, is the fact that the eponymous lady with the cold hands is neither fair nor understanding of her husband's new wife and her plight. Rather, this ghost is cruel, filled with rage, and will have her revenge.
That's where you get a lot of the blue in that story, especially.
Yeah, there's a lot of blue in there. And it's big, bold color splashes. It's not like ribbons of colors and other things. It's very much a color blocking thing. I could see a lot of outfits based on pages people wearing. There you go, from the colorblind non-designer who works at the warehouse.
Yeah.
The next story is His Face All Red. A man grapples with his jealousy of his charismatic brother, a brother this man knows cannot be alive. When you finally learn the meaning of the title of this particular story, it's wonderful, terrible realization. Then we have... What?
What is that terrible realization, Todd?
What is the terrible realization?
What is that terrible realization?
His Face All Red.
And His Face All Red? Well, let's see, wait. The fact that he is actually dead and he is the ghost of his brother who's killed him and his hidden body.
Little telltale heartish there, isn't it?
So it was his brother.
Very much so. There's a reason why he was being ignored. That's because he was dead the entire time.
Then we have My Friend Janna. It follows 2 unlikely best friends. Janna is a medium, while the narrator of the tale helps Janna swindle the bereaved who come to her for answers from beyond the grave. Although it's the weakest of the 5 stories, it's still effective supernatural ghost tale with an interesting twist of an ending. What's that ending, Maya?
Hang on.
Adam?
I'm trying to remember, like I said, this book, it really... I read both of them back to back. Kind of blend together, yeah.
Brian?
It's the fact that she can actually see that there actually is a ghost haunting Janna. So the person who's pretending not to be the medium actually is, to a certain extent, a medium, and that she can actually see a ghost haunting the person who actually is pretending to be the medium.
Then there's the nesting place, which is the final of the stories. It's a great story. It's a younger sister visits her older brother and his wife, only to discover that his wife is not what she seems. Very unsettling story. And it's loose teeth, squirming of worms, among other things.
Yeah,
will leave you going.
This page right here, which works great on audio format, but
it's like straight out of Lovecraft.
Yeah, it really is quite
with all the like worms coming out of her face and her big bulgy eyes.
Have you ever seen Princess Mononoke and you see like the big animals turning into demons with all the blood
that weird monster,
coming all around it? That's very much that face. So you've got these bloodworms swirling in all the way. So, yeah. There you go, Brian. And Adam.
Okay.
Aww. And Maya.
Oh,
thanks, man.
And Jason. We still miss you, and I'll include you.
Thanks.
Oh, yeah. He's going to really appreciate that.
Thanks, guys.
Uh-huh.
Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks, guys.
He has a deeper voice than that. But...
There it is.
Thanks, guys.
Did you know I want
Thanks for noticing me.
Person?
Hope
That's
you find
so
your
cool.
dad.
Oh, let's start feathering.
That's true. I'm working next to Shondaland. If that impresses anybody
Next to Shondaland.
Yeah, like the office building where Shondaland is located. That's on the lot that I'm
Don't
working
they have
on
like
right
10 shows going at all times, or did they have like half of them canceled last year?
I don't know.
But I mean, there's this stalwart of Grey's Anatomy, and then you've got Scandal, and then you have, for a while, you had Private Practice, but that one's gone now. And then you have, there was another one going on, I don't quite remember. I don't know, but there's Shondaland's Todd's knowledge. I don't know why I know that.
Because you have a wife.
Shonda Rhimes, you're awesome because you get it done.
Rich as hell.
Because she gets it done.
She's a hustler, baby. Hustler. No, that's a different thing. She's a seriously hardworking person.
But what does she do? She's a whore. What?
So do you want to know why pimps...
Are you quoting something?
South Park. That's very still an episode.
Okay.
Yeah. So, side tangent, why do pimps wear gold chains? It's a real question here.
Why?
Because cash can be seized, but gold chains is property, and he can sell the gold chains for bail.
Oh, really?
I thought it was going to be a joke, but
it's not a joke. It's a real deal. So why are they flashy as hell? Because when they get arrested, that is property and not just cash. Because cash can just be forfeited and be seized, and it's gone. But if it's in another form, not so easily done. But you can easily sell gold and get some out back on the street.
Well, the more you know.
So, lessons in pimping 101 from the guy who's never pimped.
And don't forget about the
Yeah, right.
Here we are. The more you know.
The more you know. Okay. Well,
we should probably talk about the book.
We probably should, because who knows how much of this shit that I'm going to have to edit out, because we've been rambling all night.
The thing of it is, the more we ramble and do this, the more fun we're having at your expense.
I know, that's the thing. The more editing I get to do.
Because we love you.
You're welcome, Brian.
Hey, future Brian. Past Todd was a dick.
Future Todd's a dick, too. So was present Todd.
Todd's like an omnipresent dick.
The opposite of Schrodinger's dick. It's just the every dick in all times and all places.
I saw a thing the other day that said a dick pic is a human equivalent of a cat giving you a dead mouse as a gift.
I've seen that.
Yeah, just don't do it.
It's like, oh,
thanks,
I
get what you're
guess.
trying to do, maybe, but ew.
Anyway.
Yeah.
Okay, well, so, Mr. Todd, you've already given us a summary. Mr. Maya, what are your initial thoughts on this book?
So, it seemed like a pretty quick read. I liked most of the stories. I'm having to flip through them because since they are all kind of the same tone, they kind of, for me, blend together, especially reading this book and the book we're doing next week all together.
Yeah.
I really liked the Lady's Hands Are Cold and the Nesting Place. The Nesting Place was probably my favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Just because it probably that one probably sticks out the most.
You can see why it was saved for last.
Yeah. And then I do like, in true sense of a good horror book, you feel like the hero wins, and then on the last page, no, they didn't.
No, they did not win. What do you think about the art?
Nope.
Which one?
The art of this book.
This art is beautiful. Did Emily Carroll write and draw it, or?
Yes.
I've never heard of Emily Carroll before.
One woman show.
Yeah, this is amazing. Like, this is something, because this isn't put out by a normal comic company. This is
Simon & Schuster.
McElderry Books. Yeah, Simon & Schuster. This is more something that you'd probably be more likely to find at Barnes & Noble than at a normal comic shop.
Mm-hmm.
But, no, this is between the art and the colors, this is the right kind of spooky for me. I love it.
Yeah, it's almost, this would have been a fun one to actually have at Halloween, actually, because this has some good spooky... The Edgar Allan Poe connection is the thing that I think I noticed the most on this book. For some reason, I think that speaks to me quite a bit. And the art, I think, is really fun. The art is interesting because it's just cartoony enough to lull you into a sense of confidence, but it's also just dark enough that, like, it gets spooky. Like, it rides that line really well. I think.
Oh, this looks like a kid's book. And while it is made for teens, I believe, is what it's rated. 14 and up. There's some imagery in this that spooked the shit out of me as a 34-year-old.
But I do like the comparison to Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark. Especially, I think they re-released them, and the art is much more tame.
In the Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark, that's also, for teenagers, but really spooky shit.
It is, and so some of this is here, and it's take a look at the artwork. A lot of it has a classic feeling, and I made a comment. Blocky isn't the right word because it's very flowing, but it is big groupings of color. And then and it starts out, the colors are very primary in nature, but you've got
it's a very limited
she used the colors too, right? She did everything.
Yeah, she did everything. So the whites are crazy white, the blacks are inky blacks, the blue is primary, the red is primary, and so it's a bit. It's just very piercing as it comes through.
It's very in your face.
Yes, and it has a little bit of that whimsy to it and the deepness and the darkness. And as you read the stories going through, she starts introducing some greens and some other secondary colors as it goes through, as she's lulling you in. And the stories get more complex, the coloring gets more complex, and even the art starts adding deeper levels of detail as it's going through. So there's quite a journey from the simple beginnings to the complex end, and it's still and it scares you, but it has a very naturalistic feel and pace to it with the stories how they group together.
Yeah, I just had that weird experience where, like, you think you remember a book one way, and then you go back and reread it or re-look at it, and you realize that it's different. Because, like, the shocking swaths of color are so prevalent that in my head, this was a black and white book with some red and blue in it, and then went back and re-looked at it and went, oh no, there's actually quite a bit of color in this book. But it's just that the vibrant tones are used so effectively that's really what stands out.
And the blacks is there. I mean, it's a dark book oftentimes as you're looking at it, but at the same time you look at it, it screams with color. There's nothing muted. It's not really a term you would use with this.
Flipping through here. One of the other things that she does really well, and I've noticed it a few different times in this book, is when she draws a character like with dark holes for eyes. It's spooky.
Yeah. Adam?
Well, the one that I actually liked the most was the lady's hands are cold.
Now that one was my second favorite.
Yeah, because I mean the way it plays out, it's the very stereotypical, like, there's a ghost story. The new wife finds out that the husband killed the old wife, and then her body's scattered. It's like the Telltale Heart kind of thing, scattered throughout the house. And she goes and she works hard to find this woman's body and put her back together, and even like laces her up with like red silk handkerchiefs. And then the ghost doesn't give a shit. She's like, "Fuck you! Like, what are you're sleeping in my bed. This is my land. This is my property. Blah blah. It's my husband." And goes after her. And like Maya was saying, it was like you've got the protagonist, the hero, and you think everything's gonna be fine. And that last panel is like, "Oh no, fuck! That's not what happened." And again, it's a cool way to, again, retelling some Edgar Allan Poe, like we've brought up a bunch of times. And never really knowing where the book's going to go. Mm-hmm. And that's always kind of fun because, a lot of stuff is, really predictable, or if you've, read one comic, you read them all, you can kind of guess where things are going. And this one, a couple of them did, like the one with the brother, you kind of knew what was going to happen there. But you didn't really know what the rest of it was going to happen. So that was fun and entertaining.
So like this is something like, Guillermo del Toro is producing the scary stories to tell in the dark. I want to see him do these.
Yeah.
That'd be a good fun thing. Some of the fun things I like about this, Brian, maybe you have some that say she sure is reticent to use speech bubbles.
Oh yeah, she intermixes the dialogue and the
right.
Well, because also most of it's narration. You know what I mean? There's not a lot of actual...
Yeah, they do. But the traditional speech bubbles or a color block with words in that color block is the way the words are. I mean, and as you watch some of it, it almost... It was done super well, but it's almost like Bendis bubble chasing at times with the amount of words on there, and it's got such a movement and a flow with the way you read it. It's very atypical from the traditional expected way of how wording is to come on a typical comic page.
Yeah.
So, and oftentimes, depending on it, if it's a black background, it'll be a stark white lettering. Or on like the same 2-page, you'll go to the next page with a stark white background with black lettering. And the contrast of the two really plays against each other quite nicely.
Hi, guys.
Hey!
If I could jump in for a second on the topic of the lettering.
Yes.
My personal favorite story was my friend Janna, or Janna. I don't know how we're pronouncing it. But she actually has a 2-page spread in which she shows the journal in which her friend was writing all of these weird sayings. And it for me in particular, the poem on the right page was just really, really beautiful and stuck out to me as a really good example of Emily Carroll's very lyrical way of phrasing things.
Yes, it feels like you're reading a poem as you're reading these things through. I mean, Gaiman probably goes, "This is my jam." So, Jason, which was your favorite story of the 5?
It was my friend John.
That one was it?
Second was Nesting Place, just because while I enjoyed the first 3, I think that they all felt like tiny little blurbs as opposed to complete stories. And I would have preferred to stay in those worlds a little bit longer past the little reveal. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else have any thoughts?
So real quick, I'm on Emily Carroll's website and looking at a bunch of other stuff she's done, and it all seems, like kind of her own stuff. But it looks like she did a comic based on Fallout 4.
Oh, really?
Really?
Which is interesting.
I know she also did some art for the video game Gone Home.
What is that video game? I'm not familiar with that.
It's like I think the term for the genre is walking simulator, where you are walking through a house, uncovering bits and pieces of the story left behind by the characters that lived in that house.
Cool. Anybody else have any final thoughts or any other thoughts they want to throw in there?
Read this book.
No, it's really good. I mean, take art and...
Reread this book right before you go to bed.
Yes.
Right before you go to bed. And what's a little bit interesting, and
by candlelight.
Yes, this art it grabbed onto me. And at first it might seem a little simplistic in nature because there's and it really builds on it. Like in the first few stories, the shading is somewhat minimal. And it's larger things, and as it goes on, it becomes more and more. And it's there is a complexity that's a little bit belying to it as you watch it there. And it's just some of those things as it gets richer and deeper, and you're just like, it kind of leaves you with a feeling afterwards, and you just kind of, it sticks around for a little bit.
And see, for me, this was like, I tore through it pretty fast. Because originally I was going to read the one book. I read the one from next week and then did this one. And I was like, oh, I'll take a break. Then I did, and I was like, well, I'll just, go through it. And I really enjoyed it, and I really loved it, but I'm going back, and as we're, recording, kind of flipping back through it and finding a lot of little things I didn't notice the first time through. But I didn't read the book, get the story out.
Sure.
But there's little subtleties and things that popped up that I didn't see before. So I think it's, like you're saying, it's kind of cool. You got something that is service level, but then you can dive in deeper and find more and more kind of subtext in there. So
this is one of those going, because I know how the little spawn And I'm wondering, there's different things I can read with her as she gets older. She's much too young for this book.
At least wait till she's 6 months.
But what is the minimum age, to cherry pick a little bit? I'm going right here of like, this is a scary story, and at what point do I want to go, yeah, I'm going to be good with her screaming up at night and have it be my fault. But
I think it depends on the kid.
Right, that's too. I mean, my brother kid when he was a youngster, like 7 or 8, arachnophobia was his jam, and he must have watched that movie twice a day for 6 months.
Yeah, arachnophobia is not really that scary. It's more goofy than anything else.
There is a few jump scares. That old lady couple with the popcorn and the spider dropping down from the lampshade. That one.
Yeah.
The screaming spider was stupid. But the old couple with the popcorn as
it comes out of his nose.
And it's coming out of his nose and crawling through the popcorn. Yeah, that one got me. So.
Well, then let's jump into final grades. So this will be pretty easy because it's only one thing. But for self-contained, this really seems like an easy one. But for self-contained, what is your grade, Mr. Adam?
It's an A, because this is just 5 short stories. One shot, boom, you're done. I do want to see more kind of stuff in this vein, but because she does a great job of it, and I'd like to see more stories from her. But there's really nowhere else to go as far as what you're presenting in the book.
Okay, Mr. Todd.
Yeah, I'm going to give it an A-. Everything Adam said is correct, but even playing a bit off of Jason there is, I want more. Know what I mean? So yeah,
Okay.
A-.
Okay, Mr. Jason.
A.
Okay, Mr. Maya.
It's an F for me. No, I'm kidding. It's an A.
Cool, and I'm also with an A. For writing for Emily Carroll, what is your grade, Mr. Jason?
For overall writing, it's a B, simply because the first 3 are so short. I feel like we just barely dipped our toes into them, and then they're done. The last 2 are wonderful stories, and I really enjoyed them.
Okay, Mr. Maya.
I'm also at a B, kind of for the same reasons. There were the 2 that seemed to be everyone's favorite 2 stories, but the other 3, to me, they were well written, but they weren't really great and not terrible. So I'm going to go with the B.
Okay, Mr. Adam.
I'm going to go with the B as well for everything already said. And even though this was meant to be 5 different stories, I think it would have been kind of fun if there was like a theme that was connecting them all. Like maybe something that happened in the first story could have tied into the last one. And that's just how I like stories being told. It doesn't mean it has to be that way for everyone, but they're all really good. But for all of us, there were 3 that we kind of felt like, it was okay. So.
Okay, and I'm going to go with B+. I really liked the writing on this. It reminded me of Edgar Allan Poe quite a bit, and I'm a big Poe fan. So
It reminded me of him without knowing you're trying to imitate him.
Yeah,
So you can
it's a vibe without a rip-off.
Would you say you're just a Poe boy from a Poe family?
You need to go. Get out.
Okay, for art for Emily Carroll. I'll have to remember one name this week and next week. It's great. I love it. What is your grade, Mr. Todd?
It's an A. I mean, I loved it. It was horrifying and sensual and romantic and scary and fun, and it's a bit different than what you see every day in your graphic novels. So that's an A.
Okay, Mr. Jason.
Mine is also an A. In particular, I was really drawn to the flushed faces and rosy red cheeks that are so prevalent in the characters. It really helps them feel just a little bit more alive.
Okay. Mr. Adam.
So it's an A as well for everything already said. I love the artwork. It's the strongest part of the book. And it's just very evocative. It's interesting the way that they play with colors, and it tells the story almost more than the writing does.
Excuse me.
Okay. Mr. Maya.
Also an A. It is, from the use of colors to just the way some of the pages are laid out. It's not your typical way that comics are laid out, and I really dug that, and it's really pretty to look at. So I'm giving it an A.
Cool. And I'm also going to give that an A for art. I don't really have anything else to add.
Hey!
Okay, so for overall grade, I am going to go with an A-. Just, I really love this book, just taking off just ever so slightly a little bit for the writing. Even though I think it's actually very good. Mr. Todd, what is your grade?
I give it an A. When this came out, I got it. I loved it. Reading this again, I love it. It's so good. It has a timeless feel to it as well. So, it kind of, it's setting itself in the past, definitely with how the stories are set up, but it doesn't feel like, oh, I'm going to read this in 5 years and go, I can tell when this was written. I don't see any pouches type things anywhere. So, yeah.
Cool. Mr. Adam.
Well, I'm at an A-. I love this. It's really great. The writing's decent. The art is very evocative. And honestly, if those other 3 stories could have been punched up a bit, I'd be, probably an A or A+ even. But no, it's totally enjoyable. I definitely want to, get more from her.
Cool. Mr. Maya?
Yep, I'm at an A-. Yeah, I'm at an A-. That's all I can say.
Okay, Mr. Jason.
I am at a B+. I did very much enjoy the last 2 stories, but as we've touched on before, the first 3 are just whisper thin.
Wafer thin.
One wafer thin mint.
One wafer
I can't
thin.
take another
One more
bite.
wafer.
I don't like
So that gives us a GPA of 3.68, which is just barely below an A- average. It's technically a B+.
Fake news.
So, anyway, so next week we are going to be reading another collection of short stories. This one's by
Becky Cloonan.
Yes, Becky Cloonan. Sorry, I was reaching over to grab it. Becky Cloonan with, I think, coloring is done by Lee Lowridge. Lowridge, sorry.
Yes.
Yeah. Hey, look, I got a name right. This is by Chance by Providence. I forgot that I actually have this issue signed by her, this collection.
Oh, nice.
Because I bought it from her at
Big Adventure.
Big Adventure, yes, that's right. So I opened it up and it's like, for Brian, Becky, with a little heart. And I was like, oh, that's right. I forgot. I had her sign this book. Cool. Who has recommendations for this week?
I have 2.
Okay.
So the first one, if you really enjoyed Emily Carroll here, I got it in a mail talking about a bit of an expanded. She just released a new book called When I Arrived at the Castle, and it's a 72-page graphic novel of a single story.
Oh, okay.
So, and it's of a larger format of a book as well. It's the book size is about the size of an iPad Pro. So,
oh, wow, okay.
Yeah, and it's not that long. It's just 72 pages, but it's just a single story as it goes through, and it's pretty much more of what you're getting here. The second thing, if you did enjoy this and you enjoy this vibe, what kind of hit me is something that can go along with it is the anime Vampire Hunter D Bloodlust.
Not just Vampire Hunter D,
but the Bloodlust.
Don't forget the Bloodlust.
Don't forget the Bloodlust.
So it's very
Can't
important
go wrong
because
with
they're
Bloodlust.
completely different.
So that's a really cool anime and fun to watch. I watched that the first time years ago with Brian in his parents' basement.
Yep.
So there's a lot of my memories doing with Brian in his parents' basement. So, but this was another one of those, and it's just, really cool. So here you have it.
Mr. Adam.
So as we record this, 1 day ago actually, Mortal Kombat 11 came out. So it's
Finish him.
Yeah, it's really, really cool. Mortal Kombat has a very, very long and storied history, and it's all weird with time travel and all kinds of weird shit. The nice thing is that the game kind of retcons itself, because it starts at the very beginning with this. You see the character in the first 3 minutes can control time. She's like one of the highest elder gods, and so she wants to redo everything to make her will come to life. So what's really fun is, this takes place 20, 30 years after the original Mortal Kombat. So all of a sudden, all these characters who've gone through this journey are now meeting themselves from the past. So like Johnny Cage is now a general in the army, and all of a sudden young Johnny Cage, who's the actor, comes in and
And I would assume old Johnny Cage can't stand young Johnny.
Oh no, because young Johnny Cage is there trying to convince them to do a movie together and stuff. And it's the story mode is about 6 hours long, about halfway through. It's really fun because it gives you a chance to play many different characters. So you're not playing as Sub-Zero the whole time. Like you start out as Cassie Cage, and then you play Kung Lao or Liu Kang.
Yeah, like Mortal Kombat X and like Injustice 2.
Yeah. So it's very much like that. The So the story's fun. It's over the top. It's stupid, and you can be a newbie and still have a lot of fun with it. The tutorial system's amazing. Like, I'm only done part of it because I want to get all the trophies and stuff. But if you're someone who has any aspirations to be like an esports gamer for like Mortal Kombat and stuff, it teaches you how to, like, you know, basically when you punch, how many frames, you know, when the punch starts, that you can counter it or block it or do this and that. So it gets really, really in depth. It's really bloody and over the top. But so yeah, it's totally cool. The only thing I'll warn you about is that there are microtransactions. They're for like cosmetic upgrades, so you don't need them to, you know, to play the game and have fun. There will be DLC for like called the combat packs, like 4 or 5 new fighters coming out. You know,
so the only question that matters is Raiden played by Highlander?
He's not, but it's the same voice of Raiden for like the last 3 games. So I know. Well, he's dead.
No, he's not.
No, he's still around. He was on like Fan X last year.
Yeah. Oh no, I was thinking David Carradine. I was thinking Kung Fu. I don't know why I went there. But no, it's fun. Check it out. Don't spend money on microtransactions. They did the math. If you were to buy enough in-game gold to buy all the cosmetic shit, it would cost you like $7,000.
Woo!
But yeah, it's fun.
Could I make Raiden look like Highlander?
Probably. I don't know. I haven't messed around with the crypt yet. So
all right,
cool. Mr. Maya, do you have any recommendations?
I do, and this is something that Adam and I played last week as we record this.
And I played today.
Fantasy Flight Games came out with a new Lord of the Rings board game called Journeys in Middle-earth, and it's very similar to if you've ever played Mansions of Madness from them. It uses an app which randomizes the scenarios and kind of has you set everything up, and you play through, and you're supposed to, you know, complete objectives on various missions, and you can start a campaign that takes you through this big, huge story, which I have no clue how many adventures are in it. I've only played 2 deep into it. But yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun, or it is a lot of fun, and will continue to be as they put more stuff out. It's got really detailed, cool-looking miniatures, and yeah, check it out.
Cool. Mr. Jason.
Yeah, since I mentioned it earlier, I'll go ahead and recommend the video game Gone Home. It is the genre is sort of called the walking simulation game, but it's just about exploring a home where a family used to live, opening drawers, picking up objects, and discovering clues along the way. And then you get to find out more about the family as the game goes on. And it's available for Windows, Mac, PS4, Xbox One, you name it.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good. And my recommendation is based solely on a trailer. Is the new Swamp Thing series that starts on May 31st.
God, it looks so cool.
It looks really, really cool.
Speaking of spooky things,
I know, that's kind of why I brought that up. So
also,
I'm really looking forward to it.
Universe released their Xbox app this week.
Yep, and there's still a few things that they haven't put on there, but they are in the process of adding their entire library, save for anything released within last year. Not everything is up yet, but the majority of things are, and I kind of just got lost. I was like, oh, I'm gonna go read stuff, and then I just browsed for like an hour, and I was like, well, I don't feel like reading anything anymore.
Yeah, I've had that problem myself. That is also another benefit of calling out sick today, is that I can watch Doom Patrol, because I haven't.
Yeah, we're 2 episodes behind.
Oh, it's so
I'm only 1 episode
good!
behind.
The Return of Mr. Nobody.
Oh, see, don't spoil it.
Spoilers.
Oh yes, the villain of the series is in the series.
The villain of the series returns. Holy shit!
No!
And a fairly well-known actor. No, there's no way. Okay. Cool. So I think that'll do it for this week, unless anybody else has anything else they want to bring up.
I was going to follow up one thing with Maya on the Lord of the Rings game. What's really cool, much in the vein of like Heavy Rain and Detroit Become Human, or those Quantic Dream games. If you're playing a level and you lose, the game goes on and you have to live with the consequences. So it doesn't just, you don't have to go and replay it again. The story continues, and maybe you'll be at a disadvantage, or maybe something else will happen. So
yeah, just because you lose a scenario doesn't mean you lose the whole campaign.
Yeah,
gotcha. Cool. Well, that being said, I think that we'll put a fork in this. Thanks for joining us, and we will see you next week for By Chance or By Providence. Or no, is it just it's just by chance or providence.
Right.
By Becky Clunan, as we continue on our month of women writers. Thanks for everybody. See you later. Bye.
Thank you for joining us. Please rate us on whatever service you listen on. And remember, at least we're not cinema queens.